Friday, July 31, 2020, and welcome to BNAP Today. Hello, I'm Mike Ryan. Coming up soon, big tech shares surge as results impress. New virus hotspots emerge in Asia Pacific. Huawei is the world's top phone maker, despite US woes. Tokyo bathhouses are trying just about everything to stay afloat. Plus, we check out Dubai's Pup Water Park. And our special Friday guest is Katie DeTilly from Hong Kong's 10 Chancery Lane Gallery. But first, the headlines. Shares of Apple, Amazon and Facebook surged in extended trading on Thursday, with Alphabet also climbing as quarterly reports from the big tech quartet added fuel to Wall Street's 4-month rally. This report from Chris Dignam.
The big tech quartet demonstrated its dominance on Thursday after Apple, Amazon, Facebook and Google parent Alphabet all reported earnings that beat Wall Street's expectations. The first time all four companies posted financial results on the same day, and a day after the CEOs from each outfit took a congressional beating from lawmakers who alleged they abused their colossal market power.
Tightens in our economy.
Amazon posted its biggest profit in the company's 26-year history, CEO Jeff Bezos calling it, quote, another highly unusual quarter, while brick-and-mortar retailers over the same period had to shut stores during government-imposed lockdowns. The e-commerce giant's profit beat Wall Street's expectations so much so it looked like a typo, earnings per share coming in at more than $10 versus an estimated $1.46. The biggest of the big, Apple, not only posted blowout results but announced a stock split, making the purchase of its shares more accessible to the masses. Apple reported year-on-year revenue gains across every category and in every geography as consumers working and learning from home turned to its products and services. Facebook smashed Wall Street's estimates for the quarter as well, raking in ad sales as businesses used its digital advertising tools to tap a surge in online traffic during stay-at-home orders, even as they slashed marketing budgets elsewhere. But Alphabet, the $1 trillion parent of Google, did not fare as well as Mark Zuckerberg's social network, posting its first revenue decline in the company's history, but the decline was less than expected as many advertisers stuck with the most popular online search engine over the last few months. In extended trading, shares of Facebook and Amazon climbed 6%, with Apple rising 5% following their reports, while shares of Alphabet were only slightly higher. All the stocks were already trading at or near all-time highs in the regular session Thursday.
Huawei has overtaken Samsung as the world's biggest maker of smartphones thanks to strong demand in its Chinese home market. Julian Satterthwaite has more.
Despite all its battles with countries like the US, UK and Australia, Huawei has something to celebrate. It has now snatched the title of world's biggest smartphone maker from Samsung. Huawei shipped 55.8 million devices over the quarter to June, according to research firm Canalys. That beats Samsung's 53.7 million. The Chinese firm has seen international sales hobbled by US sanctions. They have limited its access to chips and software, including Google Apps. But Huawei still took the title thanks to robust sales in its home market, where demand has recovered faster than elsewhere. Overall, its sales were still down on the year by 5%, but that beat the 30% plunge at its South Korean rival. Huawei may not wear the crown for long, though. One insider told Reuters that the firm could lose top spot as international markets recover.
Spikes in coronavirus infections in Asia have dispelled any notion the region may be over the worst, with Australia and India reporting record daily infections, and Vietnam preparing to test thousands, and North Korea urging vigilance. Emer McCarthy has more.
Several countries in the Asia Pacific prided themselves on containing the novel coronavirus earlier this year, but new record surges have shown that the worst is not over. In Australia, Thursday was the deadliest day of the pandemic yet. The country recorded 13 deaths and a record high of more than 700 new cases, mostly in its second most populous state, Victoria. Authorities there have now ordered all residents in the state to wear masks. Prime Minister Scott Morrison defended a possible new array of lockdown measures on Thursday.
We have now been in this lockdown now for some weeks, and we are not getting the results we would hope for. And as a result, the further measures that are taken are certainly necessary. They will come at an impact to the economy, and we understand that. But equally, not containing these outbreaks will have that effect also. And so it's important that we continue to work together to get on top of this and to take whatever actions are necessary.
With just over 900 active COVID-19 cases linked to Victorian aged care homes, the federal government has sent 1,400 military personnel and 5 emergency teams to Melbourne to support those caring for the elderly, including with contact tracing. Vietnam, which was virus-free for months, this week reported a sudden outbreak that had spread to 6 cities and provinces in just 6 days. Thousands had flocked to the coastal city of Da Nang to take advantage of cut-rate travel deals. Now the government has suspended all flights there after the virus resurfaced. At least 9 cases have been linked to the city. 81,000 people are now in quarantine, and on Thursday the government sent a text message to all of the country's mobile phones urging those who visited Da Nang to report to disease control centres. Even isolated North Korea is on alert. Weeks ago, a defector suspected of having the virus illegally crossed the highly fortified border back over from South Korea. It's prompted strict quarantine and screening measures at the border, but so far, North Korea says it has no domestic cases.
Takuya Shimbo, the third-generation owner of a Tokyo public bathhouse, was full of plans for a new-style public bath with craft beer and live music, and he hoped that would revive the dying industry. Then coronavirus struck. Libya Logan has more.
Takuya Shimbo was full of ideas to help revive his piece of old Tokyo culture, a public bathhouse owned by his family for 3 generations. There was live music, craft beer, and even a co-working space, hoping to breathe new life into a washed-up industry. But the global health crisis has slammed the brakes on Shimbo's big plans.
There was a period when the number of customers was less than half of what I used to get. The number has recovered a little this month, but the situation remains serious.
Japan is famous for hot springs, and neighborhood baths like Shimbo's, called Sento, grew from that culture, thriving when most people didn't have baths at home. People bathe communally, but in the last half-century, thousands have closed. This year, the government decided Sento were critical for public hygiene and asked them to stay open even during Japan's state of emergency earlier this year. Still, customer numbers plunged and costs piled up. Even before then, Shimbo and his wife were doing anything to entice customers in bath movies, comedy shows, and yoga classes. One day they even turned the baths into a haunted house with roaming ghosts. Shimbo's still got a list of ideas, but they're on hold. He's not alone in turning to novelty to keep traditions alive. Hisao Iwasaki says he's found success in a big train set and a dozen cats, but he's seen customers fall by half. And back at Shimbo's yoga class baths, he fears fewer than half of his area's 18 bathhouses will still be open in 2025.
I need to understand what the public wants. I need to change so that I can hand down a business that can keep a future for the Sento alive.
Coming up next, we visit one of Asia's leading art galleries.
We are Lions. We bring hope where it's needed. We are a global force for good. Join the movement. Support causes that matter. change lives, change communities, change the world. We can do more together than we can alone. Join in. Experience the joy of serving. Be part of the movement. Give back. Let's unite the world for good. We are Lions. You can be too. Visit weserve.org.
10 Chancery Lane Gallery opened its doors in May 2001. The gallery focuses on both established and emerging artists from around the world. Katie DiTilli is the founder and director. Katie, welcome.
Thank you. Welcome.
You have a lovely backdrop there. Before we get into the interview, can you tell me about the backdrop? It looks just fascinating. You have Bombay and things like that. Tell us about that.
Actually, it's a shutter door piece by the artist from India, Atul Dodia. And he made a series of shutter doors where actually it comes down like a shop door, and there's a painting underneath. So this one is reflecting on the situation of the 90s in, the 90s in Bombay and the Taj Mahal bombings.
How did you come to settle in Hong Kong and choose this career?
Well, really, it's all chance. My husband, we were looking to move sort of towards the emerging markets. We were living in Germany. We were thinking going more east, and my husband got a job in Hong Kong. So we went very far east, and in 1994. So we moved out here, and then I became very involved with the art scenes that were just in development. So from China, from Vietnam, from Thailand, from a lot of Southeast Asia, and even Australia. So I was very interested in all of that, and opened the gallery in 2001.
What do you love most about living and working in Hong Kong?
Well, Hong Kong is an extremely vibrant city. I mean, you've seen it a million times on TV, but what's so wonderful about Hong Kong is the efficiency and how easy it is to get things done. So opening up a business, connecting with the audience, it's a small town and a big town. But just working day to day is so efficient and so easy. People are super hardworking and good-willing. So that's been really a pleasure working in Hong Kong.
Tell us about 10 Chancery Lane, the art that you deal in, and your objectives.
So initially, 10 Chancery Lane Gallery opened to bring art from the West to Hong Kong. At the time, there were very few galleries, maybe a handful. And there wasn't a lot of Western art being shown here. But because I became so interested in the local scene, the Chinese art scene, the development of like really the birth of art scenes from different countries around Asia, that we switched very quickly to focus on art from the Asia Pacific and sort of, start the conversation globally with what that is. And I think actually that conversation has not been fully told. The artists from this region, it's art from anywhere in the world. It's a global story, but it's a village story. So it's what's happening locally that can relate to people internationally. And what is the human side of art? What are the inspirations? What are the influences as far as cultures and backgrounds go? So I think that the world globally knows very little about what's happening in this region.
Unless we watch the news, and I've been told I must detox from watching the news. It loves the miserable stuff, the news, I find, and it's getting far too miserable for my small mind. When you first opened, and say till now, actually let's go back a bit, when you first got involved in the the art industry or movement. How have your goals or aims or just thoughts changed?
Well, I did it very spontaneously. I didn't have a long-term business plan. My business plan has been passion, and seeking those stories of individual human beings. And I've been very lucky to connect with great artists from early on, and that who are still with me today. So that's really wonderful. And you know, I think there's so much history involved. So how my goals changed, I don't know. I think it's an unfolding story. I think it's an unfolding story of art history in the happening. Of course, we hope to continue to make money along the way and to have our artists be successful in their careers. That comes with, economic times going up and down, which we've seen many times over already. But whether in any time of history, whether it's during wars, the Great Depression, art is still being made and art history is still being written. So we're just part of this evolving story.
Tell us about some of the major projects you've been most involved in locally, such as Art Power HK, HK Forward.
So I've been involved with because of the art gallery and the growing art scene. I was part of the founding of the Hong Kong Art Gallery Association. So that was really the art galleries coming together as there started to be more and more galleries. So we went from a handful to about 65 galleries in Hong Kong. So we found a need to kind of come together to find a cohesive place to have a website, people to find the art, as well as engage with the local audiences. So I've also been involved with something called the Hong Kong Artist Residency Abroad funding scheme, which funds artists from Hong Kong who would like to go abroad and do artist residencies. I found that many of the Hong Kong artists could really benefit from engaging with other artists around the world and having that opportunity. So we started that, as well as the Hong Kong Forward exhibition that we do every year, which is since 2012, we go to all the grad shows and we choose a selection, which we're doing right now, of Hong Kong art graduates to have their first show ever, so to have that experience. And, with no other ambition except for them to have that experience, right? So really keeping it very open-ended for them and get some sort of first publicity for themselves. And as well, getting involved with local artists and driving those conversations. And as well, of course, right now we've started Art Power HK, which has been, a sort of a big gap because of the situation right now and how to continue the conversation. So we started it quite early as late February and March to start to engage a global audience in conversations, allow all of our partners to put content in order to, really have a continued conversation. And we're finding that's really interesting. Online talk, live talks on the site as well. So it's been a communicating network. It's a campaign. So, and we're finding it to be so good that we want to continue it. We're still in this situation, but we didn't know how long it's going to last. But I think that we're finding that this Art Power HK is a very positive online platform.
Describe Hong Kong's art scene and how it's changed since you've been there.
Well, as I said, it's a big city, but it's a small town at the same time. It has changed in the fact that there's become a commercial side to it. Hong Kong is the third largest art auction place in the world, after New York and London. And China's quickly overpassing that as well. So but it's just allowed an opportunity for more local artists and regional artists to have a place to have, exhibitions. A gallery is a first place that an artist has an exhibition. The artwork goes from the studio being made into that commercial place to be shown. And so as Hong Kong is becoming much more of an international art market, it allows that that exchange arena. And it so in turn allows more Hong Kong artists to have a place to show their artwork. As well, it is an access point to the great big market of China, which is now, was really driving the Chinese art market, and of course will continue to do so. But it is also embracing the international art market and artists from all over the world. So a lot of galleries are really engaging with China via Hong Kong as a base. So that is a sort of, conversation going backwards and forwards.
What about emerging artists in Hong Kong? Is it as difficult an environment at the moment to establish as a new artist as, say, in other cities? Because at the moment there's a lot happening. We have COVID, we have unrest, we have all sorts of things that we don't want to talk about. But is that impeding an artist's drive to become established, to move forward?
Well, if you read the stories of art history, and most artists in the world, in every city in the world, it's like winning the jackpot to become a famous artist sometimes, but it doesn't happen easily. There are so many challenges to being an artist. Of course, the beginning of the career, either you're very lucky or you must sacrifice many years in order to continue to get that recognition. I would say it was much harder 20 years ago for Hong Kong artists to get on the international stage, where we have more galleries really promoting Hong Kong artists today and Asian artists as well. So I think it's a very difficult city in New York to be an artist, or Los Angeles or Sydney and Hong Kong. And, those are big cities. I mean, imagine even smaller towns. But I would say that Hong Kong has a good footing now, and the great drivers that can push that forward happening.
If somebody wants to find out more about 10 Chancery Lane Gallery, in fact, when we can start flying again safely, how can they find you? Besides being online, tell us about where you're at.
Well, my space, as you can tell, the name is the address, which is Chancery Lane, which is, when I opened the gallery, on the back wall of the old Central Police Station and Victoria Prison. And so all the streets around me are called Old Bailey, Arbuthnot, Chancery Lane. So it's the justice area of former Hong Kong, and now has been converted into a heritage art site called Tai Kwun. So we're just on the back wall of Tai Kwun. It's a little walking lane. It's looking at the heritage granite wall. It's I would say it's quite a charming place. So.
And what about for the electronic media, the web address?
Yes, it's 10chancerylanegallery.com.
Katie Detilly, thank you very much, and enjoy the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
After this break, we kickstart the weekend.
Since we've seen you.
You've been stuck at home all this time.
So we reckon you deserve a holiday.
You deserve to stretch your legs.
You deserve a little sun and fun.
You deserve some chill time.
A bit of thrill time.
A bit of you time.
Australia, you deserve to play through.
You deserve a long lunch.
You deserve a sleep in.
You deserve to hang out.
Woo! You deserve a drink.
Or two. Australia, you deserve some playtime.
Because it's a Friday and start of the weekend, let's loosen the belt a little and head to Tokyo for some sake. Now, who doesn't love good, simple Mexican food? I love it. I could almost eat it every night. Great for the weekend though. Now, COVID-19 hasn't stopped Ortega 120 in Redondo Beach serving great food.
We're gonna make for you today is a gordita, and this is a traditional Mexican street food. First, we're gonna go right here, and we're gonna take this braised short rib. This has been a 4-hour braised in a chili broth, fresh chopped red onion, nicely chopped cilantro, and the last thing we're gonna add, this is a queso Oaxaca. It's a traditional Mexican cheese. It's very similar to mozzarella, almost the same milk content, the same flavor profile. So we're gonna mix that all together here. This is corn masa. This is what you make a traditional Mexican style corn tortilla. And what it's made from is dried corn. It's dried down, it's grinded down into a powder, and it's added with a fat and with a liquid. And what we use here for this one, we use manteca, which is pork fat, and we use chicken stock to give it this masa a little bit of flavor. We're gonna kind of pat it out like we're gonna make a tortilla here. There's a lot of dishes that are very similar throughout South America. In El Salvador, they have what's called a pupusa, which is very similar. We're gonna stuff this masa nice and hearty here. So we're gonna now fold that over. So now we have this nice stuffed little pocket of dough. We're gonna drop that right into the fryer. It's gonna take about 2 or 3 minutes till it's nice and golden crispy. And on the base of this gordita, when we're gonna plate it, we're gonna use this beautiful fresh hand-hacked guacamole, which is just avocado, tomato, a little bit of red onion, and salt. We're gonna make a nice line of this avocado guacamole. Oh yeah, it's nice and golden brown and beautiful, nice and crispy. Hear that beautiful crunch when I cut through it. oozing queso Oaxaca. This is a avocado and jalapeno puree. We're gonna put that right over the top. Some baby cilantro. This is actual micro cilantro. We're gonna finish it off with queso cotija. This is a dried Mexican milk cheese. It's a little more wet than a Parmesan, not as sharp, a little more milder. And we're just gonna sprinkle that on top. And that's it. Right there we have a Mexican style gordita with 4-hour chili braised short rib, queso Oaxaca, and a jalapeno avocado puree, our salsa if you will.
And finally, because it's the weekend, from our offbeat file.
It's Dubai summer. Dogs want to swim. Dogs want to have fun. And there are not much dog-friendly places and dog-friendly beaches where the dogs can go and enjoy a dip in the water. So Dubai always leads on that front when it comes to innovation. So it was about time to have a water park dedicated for dogs to come and spend the day.
And that's it for BNAP today. Have a great weekend. Be safe and be kind. I'm Mike Ryan.